especially in the aerospace and defense category that's growing the number one economic sector in the United States. So that's really interesting. So let's talk about a little bit about the challenges and accomplishments in the field. I mean, obviously, I'm interested in understanding what it's like to be a woman in this category. I mean, I'm ex-IBM, so I know what it's like to work within a male-dominated engineering space. But can you talk about that from perspective of Lockheed Martin and defense?
Yeah, I will say that Lockheed Martin has come a long way since 2001, when I started. I vividly remember always being the only female in the room.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and as I continue to move up the ranks at Lockheed Martin, you start to see a space where you see more females, and then as you grow in leadership positions, it kind of goes back to a smaller population of females, and it goes back to a male-dominated environment. So as you can imagine, there's lots of challenges with that, of being the only female at the table. So I'll say very early on, I had some experiences from being in such a male-dominated field. I think my first year at Lockheed Martin, I was actually told to shut up in a meeting,
Whoa.
which is crazy, right?
And
Like,
how did you respond? How did you respond? That's my
you know,
question.
I'm a Jersey girl, right? So
Yeah.
I quickly, I didn't say anything in the meeting. I kind of got my composure, but immediately after the meeting, I went into the gentleman's office and closed the door, and
Good.
really set the stage early on that, like, that you can talk to anybody else you want that way, but you're not going to talk to me that way.
I love it.
So that was like one of my first experiences, when I started here. And you know what I learned along the way is that women are looked at very differently than men, right? So you need to be intentional when you speak up in meetings. Make it count. What I always tell people is that men can go in a meeting, they can ramble on, and everyone's hanging on their every word, listening. If a woman does that, you can quickly be tuned out, and
So true.
what you want to bring to the table gets lost. So I always tell people, be intentional when you want to contribute, to make sure that your voice is heard, and that people understand your contributions, and it's valued, versus being kind of just noise. What I always experience too, I'm a very aggressive individual, and as a female,
You
that's
wouldn't be on this podcast, I'll tell you that much.
right. But
So,
that's considered, it's very stereotypical.
yeah.
People will say that makes you, I don't know if I can curse on here, but a
Oh,
bitch.
yeah, I understand the B word. You can say the B
Right.
word.
So
Right.
whereas a man behave the same way, and they get commended for their actions, right? So what
Mhm.
I always say is, sometimes as females move up, they tend to kind of lose themselves because they don't want to be viewed in a negative manner. But I always encourage people, be true to yourself, continue to be assertive, and at times, sometimes you may need to be aggressive, but show that you know what you're doing, you mean business, and that you command the attention that you deserve. So kind of little things that I've learned along the way, but it's hard every single day,
Yeah.
in this field. But you continue to be cognizant of it, and make sure that you're focused on the right things. And talent will prevail in the end, is was what I always tell people.
I'm a warrior, just like you.